don't care who you wanna ship. We're gonna read your fic and we're gonna give it shipwrecked.
Welcome to Shipwrecked, the show where we bring to life the internet's best and worst fanfiction. We are your hosts, Ryan, Cris, and Taneene, and this week we are going to be tackling the TV series The Big Bang Theory.
Bazooples.
I've never seen a single episode
of The Big Bang Theory. Really?
Entirety. So yeah.
My parents, and I think this is the case with a lot of parents, are super into Big Bang Theory.
That is also why I've seen it. I haven't seen
I always try to shame my parents
away from these things.
Yeah, but
I always walk in, I'm like, shame on you guys, and they always try to change the channel.
Like it's deserved. Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like The Big Bang Theory is one of those shows where people really love it and everyone else hates it for the most part.
Well, yeah, it's mainly because nerd culture. People like to pretend it's a super private club, but it's not.
I mean, I guess it used to be, quote unquote, but it's too late now, you know?
It's So that's why a lot of the anger comes up in the show. It's like, oh, they're taking my hobbies.
I don't feel that. I always feel like it's like they're just saying stuff.
Yeah,
and then
that's what it is.
People who don't get it are like, haha, these weirdos are so funny because they're so weird. And then the people who like the stuff are always like, wait, all the things you just said were incorrect. Like, who is this pandering to?
I thought actually, one thing about The Big Bang Theory was they have several, science writers, I think, who check all that shit.
No, I just mean about the fandom stuff. I don't even give a shit about the science stuff.
Oh.
Wait, there's a TV show?
Middle America doesn't care about science.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, now there's that
there's
that other show, the Little Sheldon show.
Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon.
I heard that was a completely different show that they wanted to just sort of...
I mean, it's a spinoff.
Bank. No. They had a different show, and then they were like, the way we can market this is if it's a spinoff of Big Bang Theory.
That's great.
Which is just an awful phrase to have to say, but...
So I guess then, Ryan and I both saw it because of parents. Janeene's never wasted any time watching it. Can we do a quick summary of what the show is in case some of our listeners are too hip?
Can I tell you guys what I think the show is about?
Tell me.
Sure.
Okay, so my knowledge isn't as limited as Gossip Girl, but it's a bunch of... I think it's two twats who live together across the hall from an equally more annoying twat.
Yes.
And then one of the extra twatty ones likes to knock on the other one's door and yell. And then
so far,
they have two or three kind of shitty friends. And one of them... So basically it's what would happen if a kid saw an episode of Silicon Valley and then tried to draw the characters and then the cartoons came to life?
You know what?
I'm pretty sure that was just Seinfeld that you told us.
Really good.
Which one? Right? Because then there's uncomfortable white guy. So, what's his name?
Sheldon.
Yeah, no,
there's
Sheldon.
Yeah,
I'm saying
there's only one brown character.
That's what it's Dinesh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Silicon Valley, but as described to us by a fourth grader.
Except one of the main characters is a really hot girl.
But she's not hot though. That's the problem. She looks like a stack of pancakes.
She looks like a stack of pancakes.
No, and I'm not saying it's because of how
that's what I think.
No, I'm saying she's just sort of generic and gooey. I don't care to see her on screen.
It's not wrong.
You know what I'm saying? She's not even pancakes made from scratch. She's just sort of pancakes made from the box.
Definitely maybe a Denny's pancake. But at 2 a.m. when I'm at 2 a.m. at Denny's, that pancake looked real good, okay? So...
And she was I would sometimes catch her character on Charmed.
Was her character?
And she was really... She's randomly in Charmed, and I was like, I wish she wasn't.
Oh. That's mostly how I feel about Charmed, though.
You coming to my house? You coming to my house?
The place where I house.
Anyway, Charmed next week, guys. No.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. So it's the scientists. They work at Caltech, and they're kind of stupid. And one of them doesn't like to talk to women because he clams up. The other one's really dumb looking. The other one's kind of an asshole because he has a lot of rules and particulars. It's supposed to make him lovable, but it just makes him really an asshole. And then there's one guy who's moist from Dr. Horrible, which I don't understand his position at all because he honestly looks like he popped out of a movie from the 70s.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Howard, right? That's the Jewish one, the Jewish character, and like his whole character is just based off of Jewish mother jokes. Like that is like the whole thing.
No, which is that's what I feel like the whole. What drives me insane about these characters is they dress like cartoon characters and they're flanderized like season 6 characters in early seasons. Like they're already like, and that was always my argument against Barney from How I Met Your Mother too. I always felt like he was born flanderized.
Yeah, I think you're kind of right. Not excited for the How I Met Your Mother episode. That's just going to be a big roast. Okay.
Did you guys watch that show?
I watched like 5 seasons of it probably.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it. It felt like cheaper, shittier Friends.
I mean, that's what it was. Nah, but I watched that in high school, like, and I was like, oh man, this reminds me exactly of my friend group, and haha, yeah, I talk to those people anymore. No.
Oh god.
Yeah, but think about that, Taneene. Think about that.
Yeah.
I try not to.
I'm thinking about your friends from high school, and I'm melting away.
Yeah, it's basically just a disappointment, mostly. Anyway, high school friends who are listening to this.
Fuck you.
Taneene never liked you, and you probably could know.
It's not wrong. Okay, I guess we should jump right into this. This is a weird fandom.
Do you guys get a lot of fluff too?
Yeah, it's mostly fluff.
Nope, tentacle porn.
Okay.
No.
Taneene found tentacle porn.
No, I found tentacle porn.
Actually,
oh, no, tell me, guys, of all the fic, I mean not the fic, the ship names, which one was your favorite? These like portmanteaus and
Sheldnard.
I liked Shenny.
I like Shenny. I gotta admit, I like Shenny. My favorite pairing though is definitely, I don't think it had a ship name, is the Penny Amy pairing. I found like a dope script for that, but it just like it would have been really awkward to read.
We'll do it in our live action.
Yeah, live action.
I read a soulmate fic where Leonard, Sheldon, and Penny were all meant to be together,
like in one creepy bed.
I mean, yeah, but Sheldon still had to have his spot, right? Was that the
that's
joke?
probably really funny. Yeah, you're in my spot, guys. Oh yeah, are
I
you
feel
in your
like
spot,
this-
Sheldon?
Yeah, my fucking prostate spot. Ooh la la.
Yeah.
That's how he talks.
In my spot. Oh.
No, I feel like everything we say on this episode should be punctuated with laugh track.
Bazinga.
Yeah, I think you gotta add a laugh
Or
track
Bazinga.
into this episode. That's all I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be like, ha ha, high school friends. Ha 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 ha.
They didn't like you, and you can tell.
Usually. It's usually.
But anyway, who's going first?
I'm really about mine.
Actually, can I go last?
Yeah, go
I
last.
have a good. Yeah.
Mine's pretty mediocre, so
yeah,
I'll
you
go
go
first.
Don't make them want to keep listening.
Exactly. The slow hook. It probably gets better. So mine's called This Side of Paradise. I'm just going to read part of it because it's lengthy. Leonard walked through the door with dinner like he'd done 1,000 times before. This, however, was the first time he'd ever opened the door to find Sheldon sprawled out on the couch, tweaking his own nipples, further surveying the scene.
What?
Leonard realized Amy was speaking from Sheldon's laptop, which was sitting on the coffee table in front of Sheldon's spot. Leonard tried to back out of the room quietly, as it was clearly time to go back into therapy. He was going to need help working through this particular trauma.
So wait, Sheldon's like sex video chatting with Amy. It's amazing. Okay.
Leonard, Amy's voice sparks from the laptop. Come here or require your assistance. Leonard took a hesitant move towards the couch. Am I interrupting something here? Sheldon has accidentally ingested a powerful aphrodisiac and he's acting erratically. What? Why would Sheldon take an aphrodisiac? He turned to his roommate. You know aphrodisiacs are hokum. Excuse me, Leonard. Amy interrupted. You'll find this interesting. The chemical compound is actually based on your mother's research on sexual arousal.
Dark.
Leonard felt queasy at the mention of his mother's sex research. Leave it to his mother to figure out how to simulate the physical effects of sex without pesky human interaction. I think that's a plot point of the show where his mother's extremely distant.
Yeah.
Dark.
Which one's mom is really distant? Sheldon's?
Leonard's.
Oh, Leonard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's like crazy and like wants him to be a genius or something.
I actually read a really dark fic. It was just about a young Leonard making a hugging machine.
Oh, that's really sad.
I'm like, it's not funny. It's just really sad.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to make this machine because my mother doesn't love me.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay. He'd spent his 13th year sleeping with electrodes glued to his head so his mother could collect data on his wet dreams.
What?
Ooh. Okay.
I don't think I can just move on after that.
Mommy!
So he made a real aphrodisiac. His scientific curiosity was aroused. Also, Sheldon was stroking himself through his khakis. Amy had clearly created something special.
This is really unsettling.
Yes, nothing gets me going like guys stroking themselves through khakis. Yes. Some white foreplay. All right.
Essentially, around the lab, it's known as sex pollen. As in this side of paradise. I don't know what that is, but if it's a science fiction reference to a character being introduced to a foreign substance and then acting wildly out of character, you are correct. Leonard jumped when he felt Sheldon's arm wrap around his waist. How did Sheldon end up ingesting an aphrodisiac? Sheldon, did you just lick me? Sheldon was looking up at him, still sitting in his spot with a dopey smile. Your skin tastes nice. He drank a tainted Diet Coke, Amy shrugged. It was meant for a party after work hours. The effects of the medication are mediated by adrenaline and endorphins. If Sheldon brings himself to orgasm 2 or 3 times, he should be fine. Although he did consume a party's worth of the compound, so perhaps one of your more physically demanding interactive video games is in order.
What? So he's gonna play video games and jerk off?
I think, yeah, like they want him to play like a sex game.
Isn't it supposed to be Halo Night?
Probably.
That's the one thing. That's the one recurring thing I've been finding in all these things.
Ain't nothing get me going like Halo.
Just big sploosh. Sploosh.
Yeah, no, it's like, why do you need my help? Leonard asked. Sheldon seemed to be chewing on Leonard's waistband and humming. I can't get him to settle down and masturbate. I need you to keep him focused.
Just fucking settle down, please.
Settle down and masturbate. God.
Just settle down and masturbate. Leonard raised his eyebrows at her phrasing. When he asked, she said it was a happy accident. Leonard tried to make eye contact with Sheldon, but his friend kept moving around like he'd had a sip of Red Bull. Amy, I'm going to have to shut you down. I need the internet, he explained as he reached towards the laptop. Ah, yes, pornography. Good idea, Leonard. That should help Sheldon to pay attention. Let me know if it works. I can't include him in my study, but I could write a case study. Leonard was reaching for the screen when he pulled back into Sheldon's lap. Sheldon's hand had moved inside Leonard's shirt.
Ooh.
Amy watched dumbly as Sheldon hiked up Leonard's shirt and began playing with his friend's nipples. Leonard yanked his shirt down and slapped the laptop shut. He did not need an audience.
What the fuck did I just hear?
I don't know about that. I guess I'll have what he's having, maybe.
Jesus Christ.
You want the tainted Diet
You know what,
Coke?
Chris? Please settle down.
Please settle down.
I can't. I'm very aroused right now. God, nothing gets me going like 2 nerdy white boys in khakis playing nipple games. Okay.
Okay. So I think I found the part where I want to finish this on.
Oh yeah, I want to finish on that part too.
Well, get ready. Okay, Sheldon, let's get your attention. He moved to his own laptop, but Sheldon followed, his arms wrapped around Leonard's waist. Leonard's mind went blank. He couldn't think of a single porn site. Sheldon began to stroke Leonard through his jeans. He Googled pointy ears and shapely rears. Sheldon began to chew on Leonard's ear. Leonard brought up a series of doctored photos of naked Vulcan women, but Sheldon wasn't looking at the screen.
Vulcan porn. No, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
It sounds like something Ben Wyatt would watch.
I think it is something that he probably. It's definitely his whole incognito browser time.
So yeah, I'm now looking for pointy ears and shapely rears.
I'm actually searching that in right now to see what happens. Pointy
On
ears.
Bing or Google?
Google and shapely rears. Oh, it's already suggested search.
Shit. It's just Interesting.
It's a road
and
you've walked down.
it's a
then.
bunch of pictures of Big Bang Theory stuff. I guess maybe it's like an actual magazine that they reference in the show or something. I don't know. I gotta investigate this further.
If I read one more goddamn fic where Leonard called Sheldon Shelley, I'm gonna lose my mind. This is really unsettling.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I will go. So I found this fic off of fanfiction.net. I'm going old
Oh,
school.
you love fanfiction.net.
Fucking do. It's just like, it feels like home. I know it's the weaker, not as strong site, but I got roots there. And then I found this little nugget. It's called Bazinga Geddon by Ludelude.
Oh, no.
Yeah, get ready. Shit's about to get heavy. The description is the end has come, and its name is Sheldon Cooper. All right. I stand here now as the harbinger of chaos itself. In my mind, the screams of the forlorn echo eternal. I am the final testament to the folly of creation. Dr. Sheldon Cooper, get the fuck off those drugs already. Holy shit. I am that which dwells beyond what could ever be. The flaming wreckage of the building piled high above the blood-stained earth that Sheldon Cooper stood upon. His friend Leonard, now accustomed to these outbursts, tried to calm him down with promises of science and candy. His words seemed lost on the scientist who was consumed by a thirst for destruction. Leonard realized that he had little choice but to take drastic action, but even so, he felt he needed to try diplomacy before force. Sheldon, you're not... No gods! Only the truth that is entropy! Sheldon screamed in 1,000 voices, the flames behind him shaping into a mountain-sized wolf that howled in rejection to all that was. Leonard accepted the futility of further discussion and prepared to take matters into his own hands. The frothing rage of his friend would only be quenched with bloodshed, and so Leonard prepared for conflict. Thrusting his fist into the air, Leonard called down a procession of 100 lightning-wreathed angels, brought with them a blessed flaming katana from the future. Bequeathing the blade unto Leonard, the angels departed through a black hole which opened in the sky, eclipsing the sun and bringing eternal darkness to the land. Leonard held his blade to the sky and released its power, transforming into his true form. Sheldon, you've got to understand that you can't just go doing this kind of thing, Leonard said as his flesh was burnt away to reveal his true skeletal form as the Angel of Ending. I refute you this, Sheldon declared, whilst absorbing the energies of the fading universe. Sheldon ripped the spine from a nearby corpse and willed a nebulous blade of stardust around it. The swirling chaos of Sheldon's weapon warped the world around it as it clashed with the flaming blade of his roommate Leonard. Their blades separated and reconnected 1,000 times in a single second, smashing against one another with enough force to split the atom. Nuclear hellfire destroyed the city further as the two continued to struggle, the contents shifting with each strike. Sheldon used his blade to cut the fabric of space, opening a portal into a dimension of pure Great torrents of sapient chaos energies rushed out into the material world, assimilating all that it could. The claws of what could be described as interdimensional demons slashed and grasped at Leonard, only to be burnt into cosmic ash by the flames of his holy blade. The world is a falsehood propagated by those who cannot accept that they do not exist. Sheldon, now you're just being ridiculous. Sheldon channeled the souls of all who had died that day, fusing them with his own and transforming into a wolf made of flaming, soul-born nebulae. His body was the corpse of galaxies. His hair was the corpse of stars. His claws were the edges of the observable universe. His fangs were folds in existence where nothing may ever be. His eyes were reflections of infinite worlds, all of which had met their end before his will. Sheldon Cooper had become the end, the great beast that brought death to the deathless. He was the nemesis of the multiverse. Leonard gazed upon the devourer of worlds and steeled his nerves for what was to come. He drew in what was to be one of the world's final breaths and spent it shouting a great challenge to the beast. Gosh darn it, Sheldon! For every scream that populated the world, for every mind devoured by madness, for every world smothered by my shadow, for every flame extinguished by my presence, for a million voices crowd out a million condemnations to what they had become. All interrupting one another, they were legion. Leonard leapt out of the atmosphere and into space so that he might do battle with the beast before him. He landed upon the front leg of the beast and felt the heat of stars burning his feet. Leonard ran up the length of the arm to the speed of justice, slashing with his thrice-blessed blade all along the way. The blood of assimilated false gods leaked from the wounds in his beast, each a portal to dimensions of further agony. The creature howled a curse in a tongue known only to those who had never existed, which echoed through the space, resonating with the stars and aligning them so as to bring final death to the universe. Sheldon sung the song that ended the world, a symphony of loud silence. Leonard withstood the torrent of non-existence by pure force of will, transforming the nothing that crashed against him into holy light and burning plasma. The infinite universe alternated between flashes of presence and nothingness, both concepts struggling to become reality. Leonard brought all the might of heaven and hell to bear, unleashing the full devastating power of those who dwell above upon his roommate. Sheldon's inhuman form began to harden into stone before cracking and shattering into an explosion of light. Bazinga!
I'll have what he's having.
God damn.
I don't really know. Lude is on some good shit, apparently.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. The best part, though, is that I'm looking at his fics, Ludes. I just want you guys to know that they have a Guy Fieri fic.
Oh, no.
Take me to Flavortown.
Please.
Is it sung like that Hosier song? Take me to Flavortown.
I think it is.
Sorry.
No, I think it is.
I'll worship at the bun of the. But I gotta take some time to think of this song. We're gonna post the lyrics on our Twitter account.
Take some time to think about what you've done.
So basically, if we have time at the end, I'm gonna come back to this Guy Fieri fic.
Please. Take us to Flavortown.
It's a special bonus.
Special
for our
bonus
listeners.
feature, yeah. If you like the Big Bang Theory, you'll love this. All right, I'm crying a little bit. So
Yeah, no, I think you should be.
I just experienced like some kind of universe heat death. So
Right. The famous last episode of the podcast.
yeah, Sheldon Cooper is gonna storm into this apartment and just be like, "Ah, bazinga!"
Rod, I understand he doesn't storm into anything. He knocks 3 times and then yells your name. So there's no storming.
You're right. At least I'll have like a 3-second heads up before heat death.
Cris!
It's too late. Save yourself. All right, Taneene, what did you dig up for us?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna read you the summary and like the first few whatevers of this fic, and then I'm gonna finish it off with another fic. Because, you know me, I like many things.
Yeah, you gotta.
This one's a good one. Summary. It's time for some mutual world rocking. Follow up to O. And there is more O, faux show. My first time writing something so graphic. So A, I hope it works. B, I hope there aren't too many errors. I can only read it through my fingers, and even then I blush.
Same.
That's amazing. That's the best summary I think we've had yet.
Oh, so good. Let's get started. Leonard had made Sheldon come in his atrocious plaid pants, and now he was alone and hard on his bed while his roommate took a shower. It wasn't his best sexual experience, but sadly, it was far from his worst. He stroked himself through his jeans and debated whether or not to masturbate. Was he ready to jerk off thinking about dry humping one of the greatest minds of the 21st century? It seemed a slippery slope. Watch your ass, George Smoot. You're next.
Slippery slope, though. That's the best use of slippery slope I think I've heard in a fic yet.
The shower stopped. Already? Sheldon made out with his roommate, ejaculated in his pants, and took a short shower and all in one day? Clearly he was a pod person. Or maybe Beverly had broken him. Then Sheldon was back in his room. Without knocking.
Ooh.
Leonard still had his dick in his hand. You came back. Casually remove hand from throbbing member.
Usually.
Sheldon looked confused. He had changed into his Thursday outfit. Naturally, he couldn't just change his pants. That would be madness. His clothes clung to his damp body. He had clearly done a hasty job of drying off. I don't understand your surprise, Leonard. Were we done? I thought you were, done. While you were able to rock my world in record time, I hardly returned the favor. Looking at the tall man's face, Leonard experienced a warm, gooey feeling in his stomach. He wasn't used to anyone looking at him with such love and desire. The fact that Sheldon would surely pluck out his own eyeballs if he realized how they were betraying his thoughts, well, that made it even better. Or was it crazier? No, it was hotter. For what it's worth, buddy, you have given my world a good shaking. Sarcasm? No. Leonard waved at his persistent erection. Pretty damn sincere.
He waved at his persistent erection.
Hello.
And then,
Hey, baby.
oh, good.
What the hell?
I'm glad. I was concerned that my pawing at you with the gusto and skill of a juvenile gibbon might have been off-putting. Sheldon climbed into the bed next to Leonard. Their shoulders just barely touched. The effect was intense. You really didn't need to put on different clothes. You could have just put on a robe or towel. I see your logic, but we both know that was never an option. Also, I was torn between returning to your room, hiding in my own room for the rest of my life, or jumping out the bathroom window. Bazinga? Oh, how I wish it were. What?
Bazinga.
Wait, what? I thought bazinga was what he says whenever he, he's like, yeah, I gotcha. Like, bazinga. Is that not the correct use of the word bazinga?
I think it's right. Bazinga.
In this scenario, it just sounds like it's almost like it's like code for throwing yourself out the window. Because he's like, I was either going to do this, or throw myself out the window. And he was like, bazinga? Like, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't bazinga'd in a few years. Like, I just missed the rush. Like, it's weird. I don't know.
I mean, I think the word is just like synonymous for anything that happens in the show at this point.
I think that's his safe word.
Oh boy. This is such a fucking weird fic. I'm not even gonna continue it. I'm gonna finish off with my A plus.
You gotta.
Are you guys ready for my A plus?
Not, but I need it.
Summary: the lost cousin who needs a place to stay. It was about 8:30 in the evening, a completely normal Tuesday. Sheldon and Leonard had just eaten at the Cheesecake Factory together with Howard and Raj, after which they had simply returned home to do some work and relax. Sheldon was sitting in his spot in front of the TV while Leonard was using his scheduled time in the bathroom to take a shower when someone knocked on the apartment door. With a sigh of exasperation, Sheldon got up from his spot and opened the door. On the other side of it stood a man. The man reminded him oddly of Leonard, not that they looked much alike, at least not apart from the dark hair and glasses. The guy was taller than Leonard, and absolutely more muscular. His hair was messy, and drowsy green eyes were visible through the glasses. He was wearing a blue checkered shirt and tan trousers. All in all, he didn't look like the sort of person that would come knocking on the door of two men working as physicists at a university. He looked more like a man who would knock on the door of their neighbor across the hall, Penny. Hello, Sheldon said. Are you looking for Penny? She lives across the hall. What? No. The man's confusion was obvious. I'm looking for Leonard Hofstadter. Does he live here? Sheldon noted that the man was speaking with an English accent. Interesting. He was also slurring a bit. I'm so sorry. Sheldon hoped that it was because he was tired and not because he was intoxicated. He was never able to tell. He does. Sheldon told the man, who blinked owlishly for a moment. Okay, by the way, that's such a fic line. I'm like tired of it at this point. I think I see it in every fifth fic. Blinking owlishly. Like, enough.
Yeah,
anyway.
No, it's true.
Is he here? He is. Sheldon cast a quick glance over his shoulder and added, technically, he's in the shower. Could I come in? I suppose you could. Sheldon remained standing in the doorway, making no sign that he was planning to move. Please, can I come in? Oh. Sheldon moved out of the way, and the stranger came inside, walking over to the couch and collapsing in, you guessed it, Sheldon's spot. No, Sheldon said, looking levelly at the person who was now occupying his spot. You can't sit there. He paused. Or lie, he added quietly to himself. What? The man asked, lifting his head from the armrest, looking at Sheldon quizzically. That's my spot. Your spot? Yeah. Am I speaking unclearly? No, I was just not familiar with the concept that you can have a spot. Oh, good. Then the fault isn't with me. Now move. All right. The dark-haired man scooted over on the couch, leaving the seat to his left open. It didn't take long for Sheldon to sit down. I'm sorry. I haven't introduced myself. It's just I've had a bad day and I'm feeling beat. The time difference is catching up to me. My name is Harry Potter from England.
Yes. I was hoping it would go there. I was hoping
This is my
it
new
was that.
favorite thing. It's called Surprise Harry Potter crossover.
Oh my god! Again! No, it's good.
That's why I was laughing the whole time.
It's like, no.
I was like, I can't keep this secret any longer. Please reveal
Keep
it.
the secret.
No. 10 points to Gryffindor, Taneene. You got this. Holy. Bloody hell, Taneene. Surprise Harry Potter again. Oh. It's like instead of Shia surprise, it's like Potter surprise.
Oh, this is like, do you remember the John Cena meme where it'd be like, I don't know about you, but John Cena, like, I'm gonna do that with Harry Potter.
It's just Harry
It's
Potter.
like, it's just happening. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Okay. Also, can I read the last part of this fic? Because I can't really seem to understand what's going on, and I'm thinking maybe if I read it out loud, it makes more sense. Because I've read it 3 times now, and for some reason it doesn't make sense to me. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I?
But yes.
No.
Okay, so Harry has stayed with them for a while, and now everyone's like super into Harry, and he's like crazy rich, and he's kind of a celebrity because they like released a book that was like about his exploits. So I'm like assuming like the Harry Potter books are real in this universe. Anyway, so they're talking about how like they hang out together, and they're like talking about who they should meet and go to Switzerland and blah blah blah, and then they went and played paintball. So it says, Sheldon looked around the room. Where's Harry? There was a slight notion of worry in his tone, which was completely alien to it. Leonard glanced at the extra door in his room, wondering what he was going to tell Sheldon. He left early. It's 2 a.m. Yes. Harry's done with the conference, and he wasn't going back to England until tonight, and he would never leave without saying goodbye. The door, which shouldn't be in Leonard's bedroom, opened, showing a bed-rumpled Harry. What's going on? He asked, his accent more pronounced in his sleep-deprived state. Where did you come from? Sheldon asked, staring. When Harry noticed it wasn't only his cousin there, he became more alert. Shit, he muttered. Leonard told me you had left. Harry looked to the man who was still in his bed. It was the best I could come up with. Sheldon just barged in. Harry nodded. Sheldon walked past Harry, the now exposed wizard, allowing him to do so, and entered the room that shouldn't be there. He saw a room which was just as large as Leonard's bedroom, with a bed, dresser, a desk, and a door. When he opened, it led to a bathroom. Harry and Leonard stood in the doorway watching him as he explored. Harry? Leonard whispered. You can't let him know. I know, Harry sighed. I'll have to obliviate him. This is improbable. Improbable. Anyway, so what my understanding was that Sheldon goes... So I thought that Sheldon was talking to Leonard at, like, the front of his... Like, he's, like, standing in his doorway talking to Sheldon, and then Sheldon looks, like, past him and sees there's, like, another door in his room and goes, like, oh my god, what is that? And then Harry comes out, and then he says he looks at the man still in his bed, and I was like, who is that man? So I was like, wait, so then Sheldon... So in the scenario, does this mean that Sheldon is walking into the room, speaking to Leonard while Leonard is still in bed, and then motions over to the door that I don't know which part of his room that is, and then Harry comes out? I don't like. And then when does Leonard get out of the bed? See, I have a lot of questions.
Sounds like some hocus pocus.
It's magic. It's just magic.
Bazinga.
Bazoople.
Bulls.
Have you seen the thing? It says, "I just witnessed a man in a Bazinga shirt drive his car into a tree, and that's how I know there is a god."
It's not wrong. It was probably the guy who wrote the fic that I read. He's like, yeah, Bazinga nihilism tree. There we go. It's actually my new religion is Bazinga nihilism. Yeah. Whew.
Well, guys, that was.
I feel like we learned a lot today.
I mean, is there room in everyone's stomach for Guy Fieri? Is my question.
I could use some
Please
dessert.
take us to Flavortown.
Yep, that's.
Flavortown.
I just want to bring up that this author is fairly prolific in that they have 18 fics. Some of the titles include 50 Shades of Garfield.
Yes.
The summary for that is just "Kill me, please."
I feel like
and
we
then-
might need to have an entire episode to this one author.
I think we do, because they have another fic called "Cosmic Diabetes and the Relationship of Ice Skating and Nihilism."
Yeah.
And then another good one is a Donald Trump fic. It's Donald Trump engages in the act of extensively. I don't think that's a word. Extensively. I guess it's parody, but an adjective. Parodic. Parodic misadventures and defends his city-state from an envious Adolf Hitler. Then Gilgamesh attempts to buy pizza from Little Caesars. Basically, this guy has got a lot. I hate that I'm gendering him.
I'm just gonna go home, draw some acid, and write fan fiction.
Yeah. So anyway, this one though is it's a crossover fic between miscellaneous TV shows. It's called "Take Me to Flavortown." It says hope comes in many flavors. Contains Nagito Komeda / Guy Fieri, so an anime character, and then Guy Fieri. All right, I know I'm butchering this name too, but we just gotta go for it. Nagita Komeda stared deeply into the dark eyes of Guy Fieri, finding himself lost in the mystery behind them. He thought back on all the fond memories he had made with this man before this moment. From their first meeting during an illegal drift race to that one time that they decided to become Mormon missionaries to the aliens. This man had been with him through thick and thin, never abandoning him. The two sat there amidst the calming light of the stars above, their beautiful visage as though a work of the finest art. In this moment there was nothing but their bond, no death, no pain, and no despair. Only love. A love that had grown from the purest of friendships, taking root in their souls and flowering into magnificence. Guy Fieri, take me to Flavortown. The serene light cast down from the moon on high shone brilliantly on the giant fucking robot dinosaur that fell from the sky. Holy shit, what? The beauty of moment died with the countless crushed by the giant metal beast's appearance, and it roared in defiance of the foolish mortal's false right to live. Nagito and who hurt you? Just don't know what's happening, okay? It's like this fic has like jump scares. Alright. Nagito and Guy rushed to their feet, shocked at the intrusion. The metal beast opened its maw and brought forth a great wave of flaming energy, which it sent thusly towards the two lovers. Nagito and Guy threw themselves onto a nearby motorcycle and rushed up a ramp, dodging the stream of flame with a sick-ass backflip and landing a perfect wheelie, which they continued to ride. The robotic monstrosity roared in utter hatred for all things which lived and breathed. Nagito and Guy both leapt from the motorcycle and into the air, thrusting their morphing rings into the air and activating Henshin. With a shout and a flash of light, the two had transformed into the legendary heroes of Hope and Flavor. Hope Man and the Fieri. The metallic... minute. Sorry, I need a minute. okay. I'm okay. Alright, the metallic Hope Man and the Fury. Fuck! Alright, the metallic menace leapt into the air and deployed a barrage of missiles set to devastate the world below. The great arsenal cascaded around the two, destroying nearly everything in sight. Those that would have blown the two away were destroyed by Hope Man's laser eyes and the Fury's atomic fists. The creature morphed into a giant robotic luchador and positioned himself in the air to give them the people's elbow. Crashing Crashing into the floor below, the luchador was barely held back by the combined power of both Hope Man and the Fury, whose muscles were as great as their love. Gaining a surge of power, the two threw the luchador into the air above. Hope Man, let's do this! And literally there's something in another language that I don't know. I can't even read these letters. I'm so white. Alright, Hope Man, let's do this! The Fury summoned the full power of his fighting spirit, unleashing a power intrinsic to his very being. The world! Guy Fieri shouted as time slowed to a stop. In the frozen time, Guy Fieri grabbed his compatriot and threw him into the air. Time resumed, and Hope Man, who had been preparing his attack before time had frozen, unleashed his ult. The current situation can be best described as an afternoon possessed of a high elevation. Taking his trusty six-shooter out of his anus, Hope Man I wasn't ready.
I'm not gonna be okay.
Taking his trusty
Today was a roller coaster.
Taking his trusty six-shooter out of his anus, Holtman took aim at his own head and fucking shot himself. Death had come for him, yet in his infinite luck, the bullet had ricocheted off his oddly sloping and erratic hair, flying off into the distance and doing 2 9/11s for the price of 1? What? The dust of the horrific accident. I was thrown off by the 9/11 joke. The dust of the horrific accident many miles away drifted into the battlefield, coating all in a thin layer of asbestos and other wacky shit. The clouds of debris and dust entered the giant, formerly dinosaur but now luchador's nostrils, kicking up his robo-asthma and leading him to remember all those times he was bullied as a robot in a robot high school. It was a strange sensation, the caress of death, and those who found themselves on the precipice of this end were oft known to think in such a manner thoughts of such as, oh, what the fuck, man? Or something I don't fucking know, go read a book. With a tearful remembrance of what could have been the luchador, was granted a swift death by explosion, leveling everything other than Guy Fieri and Nagita Komada. The two now returned to their normal forms, embraced and made sweet lovings to the groovy beats of smooth jazz. Now, I need you guys to know that there's an entire paragraph that's in all caps that I'm about to read that doesn't have any punctuation. So,
Deep breath.
Deep breath.
Do it!
Here we go. But then, holy shit, aliens invaded, and now they, still entangled in the throes of lovemaking, were like, we gotta do the fusion dance, and they did, while doing the naked cuddles, and then they fused formed. One of the great heroes spoke in a tone berefit of mercy, y'all done fucked up, and shot the most biggest laser beam from his massive 4-centimeter carpet beater, and the aliens took off their masks and revealed that they were old man Jenkins all along. But then, Nagi Komurai revealed that all that was going according to plan and that they had reached the optimal elevation for deployment of the experimental George Bush that was to be released into the atmosphere to trigger the forced evolution of the human race by virtue of excessive forced adaptation to the current situation, which would be led to a legion of individuals perfectly suited to a single purpose that they would carry out forever in the new communist state that was to be ruled by the principles of hope and flavor, which was only stopped in time when the main character of I Don't Even Fucking Know showed up and shot someone, and everyone was like, oh shit, yo, and they were all like, we gotta be getting the fuck out of here, Shiggy, and then they fucking bailed before the popo arrived, but their fingerprints, as well as other incriminating pieces of evidence, were still at the scene and led to their arrest in lieu of the actual culprit who had escaped from the clutches of Johnny Law. And it just ends there.
I've gazed into Flavortown, and Flavortown has gazed back into me.
And now I'm covered in nacho cheese in my pan.
I'll have what they're having.
He's like, I don't know if I want it
I
anymore.
don't think I do. So I'm not sure if Loodaloot is okay, but
I mean, if we learned one thing today, it's that he is definitely not okay.
Yeah.
No, they're the most okay. More than okay. Fantastic. Great. The best. A+, 10 out of 10. Would do it again.
Yep. I'm ready. I'm gonna read Loodaloot's whole anthology. I might not be the same person when I'm done, but
Goddamn
We'll
right.
be here.
well, you'll be here.
We'll be here
Yeah,
for
you
you.
guys will come with me on my journey,
Riding this train to hell together.
riding this train to Flavortown.
It's a train? Like a gravy train? Or I thought, wouldn't it be like a jet? I don't know. I feel like Flavortown. Pretty cool. Need something more than a train to get you there.
It probably takes a lot. So, have you have any more thoughts about the Big Bang Theory now that I've sufficiently derailed us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
No.
Bazoingles.
Zoingles! Thanks for tuning into this episode of Shipwrecked. If you have any comments, concerns, especially concerns, or better yet, fic recs or episode suggestions, tweet us at shipwreckedcast or visit our website at shipwreckedpodcast.com. So from our OT3 to yours, so long and see you next week. Bazinga! Bazoiples!
Bazoingles.